Awesome. Hi, Theodore. Hi, Sophie. How are you today?
How are
Can you
you?
hear me okay? Okay,
Yes.
good,
Yeah,
good.
we
Okay,
can.
perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So, first off, tell me, how excited are you both for Solo to release in theaters?
Very excited.
Yeah, very excited.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always great because we've had, of course, a release like a few months ago, and so it's great to kind of have a new life again. So it's
hmm
always very exciting to have the
hmm
film kind of be back in our lives in that way.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now, Sophie, as the writer and director of this piece, where did the idea for this movie come from, and why do you believe a story like this needed to be told?
Uh, I was a big fan of drag art, and I was just like, as a fan, watching a lot of content, drag content, and I was studying um, toxic relationships because I wanted to write a movie about it. And at one point, I was like, maybe we should match those two subjects, and
Hmm.
I decided to do a movie about it. And yeah, I wanted to talk about toxic relationship because I think that the way we see it when we're not in it, when you have like a parent or friends in a toxic relationship, we see the I don't like this word anymore, but the victim as a someone weak.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the way it works. And I think that normally people are even matching with very brilliant people and luminous people. So and it's quite normal to fall into la toile d'araignée,
The Spider's
the
Web.
spider web of that kind of relationship. And I
Mhm.
wanted to have a very strong character who's falling into it. And it was very interesting to have, because when you're a drag queen, you have to be quite confident in yourself
Yeah.
or to go on a stage and do that. And it was interesting to have a character who was very very strong in that art. And when you're a drag queen, you're kind of exposing yourself, and
Yeah.
the kind of getting to know yourself through your drag
Mhm.
character.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to have this character who was doing this on stage, but being like um je sais pas, comme contraint ou écrasé.
Yeah, to have the character who's so like big on stage and
Yeah,
in his life is getting crushed.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Fantastic. And Theodore, how meaningful was it to play a character like Simon?
How meaningful?
Yeah.
Um, how meaningful?
For you as an actor and an artist, how meaningful was it to play this character for you?
Yes, I think it's so every part that Sophie has given me has been like every time the most terrifying and anxiety inducing process, but also the most exciting, right? And I think
Hmm.
that each time it was really like an opportunity to reach for something that the process is so different with Sophie that it's like it feels like you bring a lot of yourself in it. And so each time it's been a real process of like I don't want to sound too actory and like
Hmm.
cliche, but really like opening yourself up and allowing yourself to tap into different things. And so Solo really gave that. Um, of course, I mean I was terrified to be a drag queen because I wanted to look like a real one. And I was also really, really excited to be in a space where I allowed myself to completely go back and deconstruct my own, persona, in which I'm, now comfortable with of masculinity and really tap into like, okay, what would it be or who would I be if I was completely comfortable in my femininity, like at 100%
Yeah.
all the time, and that I was like that was a space that was in which I felt at my best and in my most confident, and that through that um, through that other persona, it really was where art took place and where creation took place.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was always, it's always very meaningful, and not only for the part, but also, of course, for the process that it allows. And I think that Sophie really lets her actors have a real process, because we have so much rehearsal and
Mhm.
work, table work, and everything that is more similar to theater work.
Yeah.
And so we're not just getting on set and thrown into it. There's a real, you know, there's a real like marinating into it
Yeah.
before we start shooting.
Awesome.
And if I can add to the meaningful, the
Mhm.
question about how meaningful it was, I think it was um, important to do a film about. It's a queer movie, but it's not only that, and it's the um, the story is not around a queer problem, or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
coming out, or getting to know yourself as a queer person. It's more about, it's a love story. It's a family story, and we heard a lot from the community how it was nice to see like just a story about real
Mm.
life, but
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, because Solo first premiered at the 2023 Toronto International Film Festival, then had a commercial release in September. So it's been received by audiences very well so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I receive messages from fans and from people every week telling me how this film was get touched them and validated them, and as queer or as people who had that kind of relationships in their lives,
Mhm.
and even people that got to understand other people in their lives that are victims of this kind of relationship. So yeah, it was very and drag artists really love the film. Yeah.
Awesome. Were there any reservations with releasing this film due to today's contemporary political climate around drag?
Yeah, when I wrote the film, the craziness have didn't hasn't start yet. Let's see.
Mhm.
So when we were shooting, we were very on n'était pas sûr. We were not, mon Dieu, je sais plus parler. On était inquiets.
On était inquiet quand on
Worried
shootait.
a bit. We were a bit worried. We were. He
Oui.
didn't know.
Mhm.
I think that I like the fact that I know a lot of people who like to watch Quebec movie, for example, and
Mhm.
um, thought that this movie wasn't their thing because of the drag part, and they got people told them, you got to see the film. It's not just a queer movie. It's not just about drag. And
Mhm.
every people that did that finally really liked their experience with the movie,
Mhm.
and I think they even kind of changed their mind about drag, seeing
Okay.
how it was just normal people, and festive and fun, and um yeah. So I think that the film is a good way to maybe normalize, and yeah, and but it's, yeah, it's, people think that it's not for them sometimes,
Mhm.
and it's sad,
Maybe
but
if it's not for them, it's not for them. I mean, yeah, you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
change minds all. So, Theodore, this was your first time like getting up in drag.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the most challenging part of this for you?
None. It was so easy.
Was it?
No. Uh, the most challenging part. I mean, honestly, the beginning of the process is very daunting, right? Because you're like,
Mhm.
the first time I walked in heels, I was like, oh, I mean, I'm not gonna be able to do it. And even Sophie, I learned afterwards that she was like, oh my God, is you gonna be able to do it? And then I was. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then I was. But so I think that the drag part of it is, was scary and very exciting, of course. Wait, what was the question again?
What was the challenging part?
The challenge of it. Well, there honestly, the process of being extremely comfortable and feeling at my best in this like feminine, you know, feminine aspect was a real process that I love doing, but it wasn't, you know, I think that with a different director and a different cast, I wouldn't have really been able to tap into that.
Yeah.
I think it was important to be surrounded by real drag queens as well, and just to kind of really be in that space and um, feel like I just have to kind of follow them, right? And I just have to kind of, and I can let that part of me be, without it being kind of like, oh, I have to perform a certain thing to correspond to an idea that we all have. And so we're all performing towards something instead of just like, we're existing in a space and then we kind of open up and let this thing exist. I don't know if it makes sense, but
No, it does. It does. Yeah.
And of course there's a big aspect of drag that I isn't on my shoulders. I don't have to do makeup, I don't have to do hair, I don't have to do costumes, and so all that huge part of it, and I don't even have to choreograph my own numbers. So it's basically just like a big part of it is left to like professionals, and then they get to put it on me, and then I just get to like feel pretty and move my ass, you know.
Yes. Do you think you would want to tap into your drag persona again in the future?
I would love to, yeah, I would love to, but I mean, it would have to be a very different film so that I don't feel like I'm just, you know, repeating something. But
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that was great.
Awesome.
I would like to. I would like to be a better drag.
A better drag queen.
Yeah. If I can have like 5 years to become a real drag queen.
Yes. Well, this film is the third collaboration between you two. What do you enjoy the most about working with each other? And will
last.
So that's my next question. Will it be any more in the future?
I'm kidding.
But how did you two come together, and what do you enjoy working the most? Words. What do you enjoy the most about working with each other?
But we met
in audition
for my first feature, and I was auditioning Théodore for another role, and he asked to try for the role that he got. And
yeah, I saw the description. I was like, I want to do that. I don't want to do this.
And from there, we had like a friendship coup de cœur, like
yeah, like a how do I say that?
Ouais, un coup de foudre là. Anyway.
Yeah, like love struck, you know.
Yeah.
Like friendship, love, you know.
And I think that the way I work with actors, a lot of rehearsals, and I really want to hear my actors about what they think about the film, about their characters, and sometimes we rewrite a lot. In fact, all the script together, and I think that Théodore loves it, and I do like his creative input. And for me, it's like I don't want to je veux pas comme du gaspillage pour moi de passer à côté de ce côté créatif là des comédiens.
Sophie's saying that it's like it feels like waste for her to not use that creativity from her actors and kind of have that space with them.
And I think that, like, I'll let Théodore talk too, but I think that he knows the space that he can take on my sets and on my films. So I love how he's taking that space, and I like to use his brain. Because the sensitivity and the way he's bringing a lot of complexity to his characters, and he's brilliant and so kind to people. That's important too.
You think so?
Yeah, everybody on set
Like
to work with him, so that's important for me. And yeah, it's just for me, it's just easy. And every time in interviews, people are asking me with which actors would you like to work in your life, and I'm like, Théodore Pellerin. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's my answer.
I have to say just quickly, like, we did Family First right when I was like 19 or something, I think, and it really was. It was the first time that I felt like, as an actor, that I felt like anchored, and that I felt like this feels right, you know.
Yeah.
And this feels like it's what I want to do, not in the sense that, oh, acting is what I want to do, but this is the level at which I want to do it. Not in the sense that I was great, but in the sense that it felt like we had space as actors, and to really work. It was like theater work, where we really had rehearsals and rewrites and exploration and improv. And Sophie is creates a very, very singular space for her actors, um, as she said. But from the other end, um, it's very rare to feel so loved, and
Mhm.
so free to just kind of do things and be spontaneous and explore and be playful. And
Mhm.
for me, I think it really was the key then, and it kept being so. And every experience that I've had with her has felt like such an anchoring and, as I've said earlier, terrifying, but also um, such a big experience, because because we're allowed, to play without fear,
Yeah.
and that is very, very big. And so I think that when I'm not working with Sophie, all I do is trying to create a space for myself where I'm not in fear, because
Mhm.
what I've learned is that, of course, I'm not always going to be surrounded by the same kind of loving and caring eye, but I can kind of try to create that for myself, which is kind of what I try to do.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, Theodore, Sophie, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure talking with you both.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
You have a good one. Bye bye.
You